The Grand Assembly Hall stretched before Yuna like an ocean of hatred. She sat alone at a small table made of cold white stone. Around her, rising in great circles toward the distant ceiling, sat the representatives of 400 alien species. Their eyes, some with 3 pupils, some glowing in the dark, some without any visible features at all, watched her with a weight that pressed against her chest. She was 29 years old. She was the only human in this room, and she was here to answer for crimes committed before she was born. The hall had been built by the Galactic Coalition 3,000 years ago. Its walls were made of crystal that changed color with the emotions of those inside. Right now, it burned a deep, angry red. Yuna could feel their anger like heat against her skin. High Arbiter Velos stood at the center of the great platform above her. He was tall and thin, his body covered in black plates like armor. His species, the Vorath, had ruled the Coalition for 500 years. When he spoke, his voice filled every corner of the hall without effort. This tribunal has been called to address the greatest betrayal in Coalition history, he said. His words were cold and sharp. 47 years ago, during the war against the Shade Collective, humanity made a promise. They promised to stand with us. They promised to fight beside us. And when the moment came, when everything depended on their courage, they ran. The red light in the walls grew brighter. Yuna kept her face still. She had practiced this. She had spent months preparing for this moment. Her mentor, Taiho, had trained her in the old ways. He had taught her to feel her fear and let it pass through her like water through stone. 3 star systems fell because of human cowardice, Velos continued. 12 billion lives were lost. The Shade burned worlds that had stood for 10,000 years. And through it all, Earth remained silent. For 47 years, they have hidden behind their borders, refusing to answer for what they did. Yuna thought of Taiho, watching from Earth. He was 81 years old now. He had been a young officer in the 4th Fleet when everything happened. He had carried this weight for almost 5 decades. When he spoke of those days, his voice became quiet, and his eyes looked at something very far away. Ambassador Rin rose from his seat. He was Kalari, a species that looked almost human but with silver skin and eyes like polished diamonds. His people had lost the most in the Shade War. Their homeworld had barely survived. When he spoke, his voice shook with decades of anger. "I was there," Rin said. "I was a communications officer on the Kalari flagship. I heard our commanders beg the humans to stay. I heard Admiral Gina promise she would hold the line. And then," his voice broke. He took a moment to gather himself. "And then I watched their fleet disappear. They jumped away and left us to die." He held up a small device. It glowed with soft blue light. "I have carried this recording for 47 years, Ren said. "Every night, I listen to it. Every night, I remember what humanity truly is." He pressed the device, and sound filled the hall. At first, there was only the noise of battle. Ships exploding. Alarms screaming. Voices calling out in a dozen languages. Then, clear above the chaos, came a Kalari voice. "Earthfleet, this is Commander Tal. We are losing the forward line. Please confirm your position. We need you to hold Sector 7. Static." Then another voice, this one human. "Commander Tal, this is Admiral Gina of the 4th Fleet. We are repositioning." "Repositioning?" The Kalari commander's voice rose with fear. "Admiral, they are breaking through. If you move now, we cannot hold. Please, I am begging you. We need more time." More static. The sound of explosions grew louder. "Admiral Gina, please respond." "Admiral, are you there?" "Earth Fleet, please respond." Nothing. Only silence. Then, faintly, the sound of jump drives activating. The distinctive hum of ships leaving normal space. one after another, growing distant, fading to nothing. And then one final transmission. Commander Tal's voice, broken and full of despair. The humans have abandoned us. All ships, fall back. Fall back to secondary positions. The humans have abandoned us. The recording ended. The hall was silent. The red light had deepened to almost black. Una could feel the hatred pressing against her from every direction. 400 species, united in their anger at her world. High Arbiter Velos looked down at her. "You have heard the evidence," he said. "Earth's Fourth Fleet, the pride of your species, ran from battle. They left their allies to face extinction alone. Now, representative of Earth, the tribunal requires an answer. Does humanity accept responsibility for this act of cowardice and betrayal?" Every eye turned to Una. She felt small. She felt young. She felt the weight of billions of souls pressing down on her shoulders. But then she remembered Taiho's words. She remembered what he had told her on her last night on Earth. "They will show you their pain," he had said. "They have earned that right. Listen to it. Accept it. And then show them ours." Una stood. Her legs were steady. Her voice was calm. "I have heard the recording," she said. Her words were clear in the great hall. "I have heard the voices of those who suffered. I understand the pain that the Coalition has carried for 47 years. She paused. The silence was complete. "But I had a question for this tribunal." Velos tilted his head. His black eyes narrowed. "A question?" Una reached into her coat and pulled out a small data crystal. It was old and scratched. It had been passed down through 3 generations of Earth's military command. It contained secrets that had been locked away since before she was born. "You have played your recording," Una said. "You have shown us what you heard that day. The silence. The departure. The abandonment." She held up the crystal. It caught the light and split it into 1,000 colors. "Do you want audio from our side?" The hall went absolutely still. Ambassador Rin's silver face turned pale. High Arbiter Velos leaned forward on his platform. "What did you say?" he asked. Una met his eyes without fear. "For 47 years, you have told one story. You have told the story of humanity's silence. But there is another story, one you have never heard. One we have kept hidden, not out of shame, but because the truth was too dangerous to share." She looked around the great hall at the hundreds of alien faces watching her. "I'm asking if you want to hear it. Because once you do, nothing will ever be the same." The red light in the walls began to flicker. For the first time in 47 years, doubt entered the hearts of those who had judged humanity. Una waited. The crystal glowed brighter as Una accessed the next set of files. These recordings were older, their audio slightly rough with the weight of time. But the voices inside them were clear enough to reach across 47 years and touch every heart in the hall. "What you are about to hear," Una said, "is from the bridge of the ESS Covenant. These are the final hours before the withdrawal. These are the voices of people who knew they were about to become the most hated humans in history." She activated the recording. The bridge was chaos. Alarms blared. Officers shouted orders. Screens flickered with data that scrolled too fast to read. But at the center of it all stood Admiral Gina, and her voice cut through the noise like a knife. "Report," she commanded. A woman answered. Her voice was tight with fear. "Admiral, this is Captain Sora. I have completed the jump calculations. We can withdraw the entire fleet in 17 minutes. But the Coalition front line will collapse in 12. I am aware of the timing, Captain. Admiral." Sora hesitated. "There has to be another way. If we send a shuttle, a physical messenger, the Shade would intercept it. They are watching everything. Then we could fight. We could push forward and trigger the weapon ourselves. We would die, but we would show them what? Admiral Gina's voice was suddenly tired. Show them that we knew about the trap? The Shade would activate the weapon the moment they realized we were not running. They would kill everyone. Not just us, everyone. Silence on the bridge. Then Captain Sora spoke again. So we just leave. We let them think we are cowards. Yes, Admiral, I cannot. I cannot carry that shame. Let us die fighting. Let us die with honor. Admiral Gina's response came slowly, each word carrying impossible weight. Honor is a luxury for those who do not have to bury civilizations. I will not let our pride become their extinction. Do you understand me, Captain? I am not asking you to be brave. I am ordering you to be hated. I am ordering you to live with the knowledge that billions of souls will curse your name. And you will accept that order because the alternative is the death of everything we swore to protect. Captain Sora did not respond. Do you understand? Admiral Gina asked again. Yes, Admiral. Sora's voice was broken. I understand. Yuna paused the recording. The tribunal hall was completely silent. High Arbiter Velos had not moved. Ambassador Rin's hands were shaking. Admiral Gina carried this decision alone, Yuna said. She gave the order. She took responsibility. When the coalition demanded answers, she refused to speak. When Earth's government offered to release the evidence, she said no. She believed that as long as the secret remained hidden, the Shade would not know that their plan had failed. She activated another file, a younger voice now. A man, nervous but determined. This is Ensign Wujin, Navigation Station. Admiral, I have plotted the withdrawal course. We can make it look random, like we panicked. The Shade will believe we fled in confusion. Good, Admiral Gina replied. Make sure the jump signatures are scattered. We cannot appear organized. Admiral. Wujin's voice dropped lower. My brother is on the Kalari flagship. He serves with Commander Tall. A long pause. I know, Admiral Gina said softly. I know the names of every family member our people have in coalition forces. 3,412 individuals. Some will survive the battle. Some will not. My brother will think I abandoned him. Yes, he will. I may never see him again. He may never know the truth. That is correct, Ensign. Wujin's voice cracked. How do I live with that? Admiral Gina did not answer immediately. When she spoke, her voice was gentle in a way that surprised everyone who heard it. You live because living is the mission. You carry the weight because someone has to carry it. And someday, if we are lucky, if we do our jobs right, the truth will come out. Your brother will know. Everyone will know. But that day is not today. Today, we become villains so that others can become survivors. The recording shifted. A new voice entered, urgent and medical. Admiral, this is Dr. Minji from the medical bay. I have finished analyzing the biological weapon data. Report, Doctor. The weapon is worse than we thought. It does not just kill. It uses the host bodies to replicate. The infected become carriers. They spread the agent to everyone they contact. The death is slow, painful. Victims remain conscious as their cells break down over a period of 7 to 10 days. Silence. There is no cure? Admiral Gina asked. Not with current technology. Maybe not ever. This is not a weapon, Admiral. It is an extinction event disguised as warfare. Admiral Gina's voice was quiet. Then we have made the right choice. Prepare for withdrawal. The recording ended. Yuna let the silence hang in the air. Dr. Minji died 3 years after the withdrawal, she said. She spent those years studying the weapon, trying to find a counteragent. She worked 20-hour days. She barely slept. In the end, the stress destroyed her heart. She was 41 years old. She looked at the tribunal. Admiral Gina lived another 12 years. She never spoke publicly about the withdrawal. She died alone in a small house on the coast of a quiet ocean. Her final words, recorded by a medical monitor, were, "I hope they forgive us. I hope they understand." Una reached into her coat and pulled out a small photograph. It was old and worn, the edges soft from years of handling. "This is Captain Sora," she said, holding up the image. She was 34 years old during the withdrawal. She is still alive. She lives in a care facility now. Her mind has faded. She does not remember much. But every night, the nurses say, she wakes up screaming the same words. "We are not cowards. We are not cowards." She put the photograph away. Ensign Wujin's brother survived the battle. He returned to Kalari space and joined the movement to condemn humanity. He wrote books about Earth's betrayal. He became famous for his hatred of humans. He died 3 years ago, never knowing that his brother had tried to save him. Una looked at High Arbiter Velos. Ensign Wujin attended his brother's funeral. He stood in the back, where no one could see him. He listened to his brother be praised as a hero who stood against human cowardice. And he said nothing, because the secret still mattered, because the shade were still out there. She activated one final recording from that day. General Hyon's voice came through, old and heavy with command. "Admiral Gina, this is Earth Command. You are ordered to withdraw and maintain communications blackout. Do not attempt to contact coalition forces by any means. If the Shade learn that we know about the weapon, they will trigger it remotely. You must let them think we ran out of fear. This is the only way." Admiral Gina responded. "Understood, General. What do we tell our people? The ones who will think we betrayed them? Nothing. You tell them nothing. The burden stays with command. The soldiers below you will hate you. Let them. Their hatred is easier to bear than their graves. And the coalition? The coalition will survive. That is what matters. In 100 years, maybe 1,000, someone will tell the truth. History will judge us kindly. But that is not our concern today. Today, our only job is to save lives. Do you understand, Admiral?" "I understand, General." "Then go. And may God forgive us for what we are about to do." The recording ended. Una stood alone in the center of the hall. "We chose to be hated so you could live," she said. "Every insult, every curse, every night Ambassador Rin spent listening to that recording. It was all part of the plan. Your hatred kept the secret safe. Your hatred kept the Shade from knowing. Your hatred saved your lives." She looked at the crystal walls, now glowing with a strange mix of colors that had no name. "And we would do it again, in a heartbeat, without hesitation, because that is who we are. That is what humanity means." The tribunal had no response. For the first time in 47 years, the anger had nowhere to go. The crystal in Una's hands contained more than recordings. It contained decades. It contained lives. It contained the silent war that humanity had fought while the galaxy cursed their name. "You might think the story ends with the withdrawal," Una said. "You might think we ran away and hid for 47 years. But you would be wrong. The moment our fleet crossed back into Earth space, a new mission began. A mission that would cost us more than any war." She activated a new set of files. A man's voice filled the hall. It was calm and precise, the voice of someone used to giving orders that could never be questioned. "This is Director Junho of Silent Shield. Date: 3 years after the withdrawal. The biological weapons remain in place across all 3 target systems. Coalition forces have reclaimed the surface of 2 planets, but they have not discovered the hidden caches. The Shade are waiting. They will trigger the weapons the moment they believe we have forgotten. He paused. When he continued, his voice was heavier. Earth Command has authorized deep cover operations in Coalition space. We will send agents to locate and neutralize every weapon cache. This mission is classified beyond any security level that currently exists. Our agents will work alone. They will receive no support. If they are captured, we will not acknowledge them. If they die, their families will be told they were killed in training accidents. Another pause. I have selected our first team. 12 volunteers. They know the risks. They know they may never come home. They go anyway. This is what humanity does. The recording ended. Yuna looked at the tribunal. Silent Shield operated for 47 years, she said. During that time, Earth sent over 15,000 agents into Coalition space. They worked as merchants, refugees, engineers, laborers. They took jobs on stations and ships. They made friends. They built lives. And all the while, they searched for the hidden weapons. She activated another file, a woman's voice now. Younger, with a slight accent that marked her as someone from Earth's eastern regions. This is Agent Hana. Mission log, year 17. I have located another weapon cache in the Valkyrie system. It was hidden inside an abandoned mining facility. The Coalition never searched this deep. They had no reason to suspect anything here. The sound of footsteps on metal. Heavy breathing. I am planting the neutralization device now. The compound will destroy the biological agent within 6 hours. The Shade will not know until it is too late. A click. A soft beep. Device activated. I am withdrawing to my cover position. Silence. Then, suddenly, alarms. Shouting in an alien language. The sound of weapons charging. They found me. Hannah's voice remained calm, even as fear crept into the edges. I do not know how. I was careful. I was so careful. More shouting. Closer now. I will not let them take me. If they interrogate me, they will learn about Silent Shield. They will know Earth has been working against them. The Shade will trigger whatever weapons remain. A pause. The sound of a small device being activated. Director Junho, if you receive this message, tell my family I love them. Tell them I was a teacher, like they believe. Tell them I died helping children learn to read. Her voice softened. Tell them we never left them. We never abandoned anyone. We just could not say goodbye. A final click. Then silence. The recording ended. Yuna stood in the quiet hall. Several alien delegates had turned away, unable to look at her. Agent Hana activated a dead man switch, Yuna said. It destroyed her body and all evidence of her mission. The Coalition authorities found nothing but ashes. They assumed it was an industrial accident. They never knew a human had died there, saving their lives. She activated another file. This one was just a list. Names, dates, causes of death. Over 47 years, 12,417 Silent Shield agents died in Coalition space. Some were discovered and killed. Some died from illness or accident. Some, like Hana, chose to end their own lives rather than risk the mission. The list scrolled slowly through the air. Human names one after another filling the hall with their silent testimony. Their families were told lies. Training accidents. Medical emergencies. Shuttle failures. The truth was locked away, known only to a handful of people on Earth. These agents died in the shadows. Hated by the galaxy they were protecting. Mourned only by those who knew the secret. Yuna closed the file. But they were not alone. While Silent Shield worked in the field, Earth was building something else. Something larger. A hologram appeared above the central platform. It showed a star map of Coalition space, Red dots scattered across the display, hundreds of them, forming a web that connected dozens of star systems. Earth's government knew the Shade would return someday. They knew the biological weapons were not the end of the threat. So while the galaxy called us cowards, we were preparing for the next war. Director Junho's voice returned. This is the Shadow Fleet. Officially, it does not exist. Unofficially, it is the largest construction project in human history. We have built 147 warships in hidden locations throughout Earth territory. Each ship is equipped with technology we developed specifically to counter Shade weapons. If they return, we will be ready. The hologram shifted, showing the outlines of massive vessels hidden behind moons and inside asteroid fields. We have also placed early warning systems in 23 dead zones between Coalition and Shade territory. These systems will give us advance notice of any Shade movement. We will know they are coming before they enter Coalition space. The hologram faded. Yuna looked at High Arbiter Velos. For 47 years, while you debated how to punish us, we were building your defense. Every credit that could have been spent on our own comfort went into ships and sensors and weapons. Our children learned in crowded schools while we built fleets in secret. Our hospitals used outdated equipment while we developed counteragents for Shade bioweapons. She pulled out another device and activated it. A hologram appeared beside her. It was an elderly man with kind eyes and a worn face. Commander Yunji, according to the identifier at the bottom. Commander Yunji is currently stationed at Earth's orbital defense platform, Yuna said. He is the liaison between Earth Defense and Silent Shield. He has something to show you. Commander Yunji spoke. His voice was rough with age, but steady. I have served Earth for 60 years. I was a young man when the withdrawal happened. I remember Admiral Gina. I remember the weight she carried. I have spent my life trying to be worthy of her sacrifice. He held up a datapad. This is the complete record of every human who died protecting Coalition space over the last 47 years. 12,417 names. I have read everyone. I know their stories. I know their stories. I know what they gave up. I know what their families lost. He looked directly at the tribunal. I am not asking you to forgive us. I am asking you to understand. These people died in silence. They died in shadow. They died being hated by the very people they were saving. And they did it anyway. Because that is what humanity does. We protect. We endure. We never stop fighting for those we love. Yuna stepped forward. The Shade are still out there, she said. They have been quiet for decades, but our sensors have detected movement in the dead zones. They are coming back. They never stopped planning. They never forgot. She looked at each delegation in turn. We kept this secret because we had to. We remained silent because speaking would have meant your death. But now the time for silence is over. The Shade will return, and when they do, we must face them together. Ambassador Rin finally spoke. His voice was barely a whisper. 47 years. You let us hate you for 47 years. Yuna met his eyes. We would do it again, Ambassador. Every year. Every day. Every moment. Because you are alive. Because your children are alive. Because your worlds still turn and your stars still shine. That was always enough for us. That was always worth the price. Rin lowered his head. His shoulders shook with emotions that had no name. The tribunal had nothing to say. The truth had finally arrived, and it was heavier than anyone had imagined. The tribunal took a recess that lasted 24 hours. In that time, the entire galaxy seemed to hold its breath. News spread through Coalition space like fire through dry grass. The recordings were leaked. The names of the fallen were published. Billions of beings who had spent their lives hating humanity suddenly found themselves with no ground to stand on. When the delegates returned to the Grand Assembly Hall, the crystal walls glowed with a color that had not been seen in centuries. It was a soft gold, mixed with deep blue. The color of grief. The color of understanding. Yuna took her place at the small stone table. She was tired. She had not slept during the recess. But her eyes were clear, and her heart was steady. High Arbiter Velos rose from his platform. His voice was different now. The cold authority had been replaced by something softer. This tribunal was called to pass judgment on humanity, he said. We believed we knew the truth. We believed we understood what happened 47 years ago. We were wrong. He looked at Yuna. The evidence presented by Earth's representative has changed everything. We have heard recordings that our own archives never contained. We have learned of sacrifices that defy comprehension. We have discovered that while we cursed humanity, they were dying to protect us. The hall was absolutely silent. Before we proceed, there is one more piece of evidence to present. Not from the past, but from the present. A new hologram appeared. It showed a woman in her 60s, with gray hair and calm eyes. She wore the formal dress of Earth's government, simple and dignified. This is President Suji of the United Earth Government, Velos said. She has asked to address the tribunal. President Suji nodded. When she spoke, her voice carried the weight of billions of souls. High Arbiter, honored delegates, I thank you for this opportunity to speak. She paused, gathering her thoughts. I will not ask for an apology. Humanity does not seek revenge for the hatred we have received. We understand why you felt the way you did. We would have felt the same if we had been in your position. The recordings you heard were convincing. Our silence was damning. You judged us based on the evidence you had. That was fair. She looked directly at the tribunal. What I asked for instead is something more important. I asked for partnership. The Shade are returning. Our sensors have confirmed it. Within 5 years, perhaps sooner, they will launch a new offensive. They have been preparing in the darkness, building new weapons, growing stronger. When they come, they will not stop until every humanoid species in the galaxy is extinct. A murmur ran through the hall. Fear mixed with determination. For 47 years, Earth has been preparing for this moment. We have built ships. We have developed countermeasures. We have placed defense systems throughout coalition space, hidden in places where the Shade will not find them. But we cannot win this war alone. We need our allies. We need the coalition. She extended her hand toward the hologram, as if reaching across the stars. I am asking you to stand with us. Not because we saved your lives in the past. Not because you owe us anything. I am asking because this is what civilizations do. We face the darkness together. We protect each other. We endure. President Suji lowered her hand. There is one more thing I want to share. One final recording. This was made by Admiral Gina 47 years ago on the day of the withdrawal. She intended it to be played if Earth ever returned to the coalition. She called it her letter to the stars. She nodded, and the recording began. Admiral Gina's voice filled the hall. It was different from the earlier recordings. Softer, more personal, like a mother speaking to her children. To our friends among the stars, if you are hearing this, it means the shadow has passed and we are still here. We did not abandon you. We carried you in silence, in darkness, in shame. Because that is what family does. She took a breath. We do not ask for forgiveness. We know the pain we caused. We know the anger and the grief. We understand why you hate us. We would hate ourselves too, if we did not know the truth. Her voice strengthened. We only ask that you remember this. Humanity does not run from its duty. We run toward it, even when the road leads through hell. Even when no one will ever know. even when history will curse our names. We are humanity, and we will never stop protecting those we love. A pause. When she spoke again, her voice was barely above a whisper. Someday, I hope you will understand. Someday, I hope you will look at the stars and think of us with kindness instead of anger. But even if that day never comes, know this: we would do it all again. Every sacrifice, every silent death, every moment of hatred and loneliness. We would do it all again, because you are alive. And that was always enough. The recording ended. The Grand Assembly Hall was silent. Hundreds of delegates sat frozen, unable to speak. The golden light in the walls deepened, and tears fell from eyes of every shape and color. High Arbiter Velos stood. His voice was thick with emotion. This tribunal has heard the evidence. We have learned the truth. And now we must decide what to do with it. He looked at Yuna. Humanity was never our enemy. Humanity was our guardian. While we slept peacefully in our beds, humans died in the shadows, protecting us from threats we never knew existed. For 47 years, they bore our hatred without complaint. For 47 years, they worked in secret to keep us safe. He turned to the assembled delegates. I move that all condemnations against humanity be struck from the record. I move that Earth be restored to full coalition membership with all honors. And I move that a new chapter begin today. A chapter of unity, of gratitude, and of shared purpose. The vote was called. One by one, the delegations raised their hands. First the Vorth, Velus's own people. Then the Cenari. Then dozens more. Hundreds more. The display showed the count climbing higher and higher. When it was Ambassador Rin's turn, he paused. His silver face was wet with tears. He looked at Yuna for a long moment. Then he raised his hand. The vote was unanimous. The hall erupted in sound. Cheers mixed with crying. Delegates embraced each other. The crystal walls blazed with pure white light, brighter than anyone had ever seen. Yuna stood alone at her table, watching it all. She felt a hand on her shoulder and turned to see Commander Yunji's hologram beside her. "You did it," he said. "After all these years. You did it." "We did it," Yuna replied. "All of us. Admiral Gina, Agent Hannah, every name on that list. They are the ones who made this possible." On Earth, in a small room overlooking the ocean, Elder Taiho watched the tribunal through a screen. He was 81 years old. He had carried this secret for nearly 50 years. And now, finally, the weight was lifting. He wept. Not from sadness, but from relief. From joy. From the knowledge that his friends who had died in silence would finally be remembered as heroes. Ambassador Rin approached Yuna. His steps were slow, his movements careful. When he reached her, he did not speak at first. He simply stood before her, a representative of a species that had hated humanity for nearly half a century. Then he dropped to one knee. 47 years, he said, his voice barely a whisper. You let us hate you for 47 years. You let me hate you. I said terrible things. I wrote books condemning your people. I taught my children that humans were cowards and traitors. He looked up at her. How can I ever repay that debt? How can I ever make up for what I said? Yuna reached down and helped him to his feet. There is no debt, she said. There is no need for repayment. Your hatred kept us motivated. It reminded us why we were fighting. Every curse, every insult, every moment of anger. It proved that you were alive, that the secret was working, that the shade did not know. She smiled. Besides, you are here now. That is all that matters. Rin shook his head in disbelief. Your people are truly something else, he said. I do not know if I could have done what you did. I do not know if any species could. Yuna's smile grew. That is what makes us human, Ambassador. We are stubborn. We are foolish. We do not know when to give up. And we will never, ever stop protecting the people we care about. Even if it takes 47 years. Even if it takes forever. She looked around the hall, at the celebration continuing around her. The Shade are coming, she said. But this time, we will not face them alone. This time, we stand together. Rin nodded. Together, he agreed. High Arbiter Velus's voice rang out above the celebration. Let the record show that on this day, the coalition was made whole again. Let the record show that humanity has been restored to its rightful place among us. And let the record show that the silence has finally been broken. He raised his hand. Welcome home, humanity. We have missed you. The cheers grew louder. The lights grew brighter. And somewhere in the distance, beyond the edge of known space, the Shade began to move. But humanity was ready. They had always been ready, and they would never stop fighting. High Arbiter Velos stared at the small crystal in Yuna's hand. For a long moment, he said nothing. The hall remained frozen in a strange silence that felt different from before. The red light in the walls had stopped growing. It held steady, waiting. You claim to have evidence, Velos finally said. Evidence that the coalition has never seen. Yes, Yuna answered. Evidence that would change our understanding of what happened 47 years ago. Yes, Ambassador Rin stepped forward. His diamond eyes burned with anger that had lived inside him for nearly half a century. This is a trick, he said. His voice was sharp. Humanity had 47 years to speak. 47 years to explain. They said nothing. They hid behind their borders like animals in a cave. And now, when we finally demand justice, they produce some crystal and expect us to believe it. Yuna turned to face him. She did not raise her voice. We had reasons for our silence, Ambassador. Reasons that I will show you. But first, you must understand something important. She looked around the hall at all the different species watching her. Beings of crystal and light. Creatures of shadow and flame. Species that lived for 1,000 years, and species that measured their lives in seasons. We did not keep this secret because we were afraid of you, Yuna said. We kept it because we were afraid for you. Rin opened his mouth to respond, but Velos raised one long, armored hand. Let her speak, the High Arbiter said. The tribunal will hear all evidence before passing judgment. Yuna walked to the center of the floor. A platform rose from the stone to meet her. She placed the crystal on a small holder, and it began to glow with soft blue light. What you are about to hear are classified military recordings from Earth Defense Command, Yuna said. They have never been shared with anyone outside our highest leadership. Until today. She activated the first file. The sound of a ship's bridge filled the hall. Alarms rang in the background. Voices overlapped in quick, urgent communication. Then, above it all, came a woman's voice. It was steady and strong, but Yuna could hear the fear hiding beneath the surface. This is Admiral Gina of the ESS Covenant. I am speaking to Earth Defense Command. I need to confirm the intelligence report we just received. A man's voice responded. It was older, tired. Admiral, this is General Hyan. The report is confirmed. Our deep space probes picked up the signal 3 hours ago. The Shade have placed biological weapons in all 3 contested systems. Admiral Gina's voice came again. Biological weapons. What kind? A new kind. Something we have never seen before. Our science teams are still analyzing it, but the preliminary data is clear. The weapon is designed to target carbon-based humanoid DNA. It activates when enough humanoid life forms enter the affected zone. There was a pause. When Admiral Gina spoke again, her voice had changed. General, the coalition forces in those systems. The Kaleri, the Vorath, the Sonari. They are all humanoid species. Yes, Admiral. They are. How many would die if the weapon activates? General Hyan was quiet for a long moment. Based on the population counts in those systems, approximately 12 billion in the first wave. But the weapon does not stop there. It spreads through atmospheric systems, through shared ventilation on ships and stations. Our projections show that within 3 months, the cascade would reach the core coalition worlds. How many? Admiral Gina asked again. 890 billion souls, Admiral. The weapon would kill almost every humanoid species in coalition space. The recording fell silent. In the tribunal hall, no one moved. No one breathed. Una stopped the playback. The Shade were not retreating from those systems, she said. Her voice was quiet, but carried through the hall. They were setting a trap. They knew we would come. They knew we would fight to save our allies. And when we entered those systems in force, when the coalition fleets pushed forward to claim victory, the weapon would activate. She looked at Ambassador Rin. His silver face had gone gray. Your people would have died first, Ambassador. The Kalari fleet was closest to the weapon zones. Then the Varith Defense Force. Then the Sonari civilian stations. One by one, like candles going out, until there was nothing left. Rin shook his head. No, this cannot be true. We would have known. Our sensors would have detected. Your sensors were being fooled, Una said. She activated another recording. A young man's voice filled the hall. It was desperate and fast. This is Lieutenant Dawn aboard the ESS Covenant. I am attempting to reach Coalition Command. Please respond. Coalition Command, this is Earth Fleet attempting emergency contact. We have critical intelligence about the Shade positions. Please respond. Static. Heavy. Artificial static that crackled and hissed. Coalition Command, this is Earth Fleet. We are detecting biological weapons in the contested systems. Do not advance. Repeat, do not advance. The Shade retreat is a trap. Please acknowledge. More static. Then, beneath the noise, another voice. Faint and distorted, speaking in a language that the translation systems identified as Kalari. Earth Fleet, this is... Cannot read your... Breaking up. Please repeat. Lieutenant Dawn's voice grew more urgent. Coalition Command, you are in danger. The Shade have planted weapons that will kill your people. You must fall back. Do not enter the target systems. Please acknowledge this message. The static grew louder. Then a new sound emerged. A high-pitched whine that seemed to come from everywhere at once. They are jamming us, Dahun said. His voice cracked with frustration. Someone is jamming our signal. Coalition Command cannot hear anything we are sending. The recording ended. Una looked at the silent tribunal. We tried to warn you, she said. We tried to tell you about the trap. But our signals were blocked. Our messages were scrambled. Someone did not want you to hear us. High Arbiter Velos leaned forward. His black eyes were unreadable. Someone, he repeated. You were saying there was a traitor. Someone inside the coalition who worked with the Shade. We believe so, Una said. We never found out who. The jamming was too sophisticated to come from the Shade alone. They had help. Someone in your own ranks wanted this weapon to succeed. The hall erupted in noise. Voices shouted in a dozen languages. Accusations flew between delegations. The crystal walls flickered through colors faster than the eye could follow. Velos raised his hand, and slowly the noise died down. If what you were saying is true, he said, then why did Earth Fleet run? Why not stay and fight? Why not find another way to warn us? Una nodded. She had expected this question. Because the Shade were watching, she said. General Hyan's intelligence indicated that the Shade could activate the weapon remotely if they suspected we knew about it. Our only chance was to make them believe that we were simply cowards, that we ran because we were afraid. If they thought we knew about the weapon, they would trigger it immediately. She paused, letting the words sink in. So Admiral Gina gave the order to withdraw. She made herself look like a coward. She let Commander Tal think we had abandoned him. She let the entire coalition believe that humanity was worthless and weak, because that was the only way to keep the Shade from pressing the button. Yuna looked at Ambassador Rin. Your hatred kept you alive, Ambassador. Every curse you spoke against humanity, every night you listened to that recording, it meant the Shade believed their trick had worked. And because they believed it, they did not trigger the weapon. They waited, and that gave us time. Time? Rin's voice was barely a whisper. Time for what? Yuna's eyes were sad. Time to do what we have been doing for 47 years. Working in the shadows. Hunting the weapons. Protecting you from an enemy you never knew was still there. She held the crystal up to the light. This is only the beginning, Ambassador. I have not yet shown you what humanity sacrificed in those 47 years. What we lost. Who we lost. The price we paid for your lives. She looked at the tribunal, at the doubt now spreading across their faces. Do you want me to continue? The hall was silent, and slowly, one by one, the alien delegates nodded.